Greetings over the diaspora to those that don't speak the languages that we speak. Welcome back to another episode, Stoners United, where you can bake gang. So was a Gogo gang, Makosi gang, Chakra Hands, Tarot Card gang, the queer hunters, knowledge seekers, knowledge collectors, woke gang, anti-woke gang, Tarot Card gang, as long as we are all here in love and light. Welcome back to another episode. Thank you for coming back here. If you've been here before, and those who are new here, welcome. Please let us start by subscribing. If this is content that resonates with you, please engage with us in the comment section. Put additions, put corrections, put something that's like a little FYI for us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let us get into today's episode without wasting any more time. So we're still on the principle of Gib. I hope the full moon is being good to you guys, and I hope you managed to do all the stuff, releasing the stuff that you're leaving behind, putting the stuff together, and intensifying with the stuff that we need. So we're still on our sixth season, our 6th month of Geb, the god of the earth, Umhlaba, Lefatshe, Torozani. So Geb, we did an intro episode on Geb, and we spoke about the things that align us with the season Yarunaya Geb. And today we're just going to go a little bit more into the principle, into who Geb is, and where Geb fits in the whole story of everything. All right, so if you checked out the creation story that we have done, or are familiar with the creation story, we spoke about how the phases of creation come in 4 parts, right? And the principle of Geb only comes through on the 3rd phase. So the 3rd phase is the phase of Rostau, which is now the physical earth. This is now where stuff is tangible. This is now the material world. So this is the manifestation from the cosmos to the spirit, where it makes it everything that has been manifested in spirit is now materialized. So when we're tracking the phases of creation, we start with the waters, and then we go to the fire stage, where now the processing happens, and then that mold that settles is now in the phase of Rasta, the 3rd phase of creation, where everything that was not tangible, everything that was done in spirit and in conceptualizing is now brought into manifestation in the physical form. So now Geb, as a principle, god of the earth, he forms part of the Ennead, which is a group of 9 deities, a group of 9 energy houses, or group of 9 gods. So at the very top, this mold that they're speaking about, when they say now that the mold has settled, and now with the creation of mountains and everything that is now concrete, this is where now Atum, which is that atom that came from the waters, went through the fire process, was purified, and then the cooling stage now produces Atum, right? So Atum is there on top. And then Atum gives birth to Shu, which is the god of the air, and then Litefnut, god of moisture, and then those two now birth Geb Linut, which we spoke on our intro episode that these are consorts. Now, why I want to touch on Nut, I always touch on Nut whenever I'm speaking about Geb, not because Giswirats, but this is now how we're gonna understand and see where everything else fits in. So from Nut and Geb, now came the production of the royals, right? So from that one, we have Oasa, we have Oset, right? And then we have Set, Leneptet, and then in other literature, they include Heru the Elder. But this is where now when we spoke about creation and where the 365 days would come from, and in the mythology, we spoke extensively in the season, what happened to these extra 5 days, these extra 5 deities. Yes, so a lot of Bolaska content. But anyway, so Geb is the energy that personifies the natural powers that have made the mature harvest of spiritual life to be possible, right? So that is one of the descriptions that Geb. And then so Geb is the creator of the organic life, so this tangible life that we see here. So Geb himself provides the physical and spiritual nourishment that allows the pattern of nature to be continuous and multiply, and then the body of light to also take physical form. So what do we mean by the body of light, right? I said go the live that we did, Jorge. I like the direction that my 2000s are going, right? How they are giving us light, for terms to use or terms that are easier to understand. And here on our platform, we just want to make everything relatable, like, because it's we explaining this whole story through mythology. So yeah, so that we are able to draw pictures, but in order for us to get like an easier understanding, because I'm sure Harilebo or Gang really wine and just qoqaring, we're assuming that everybody knows what we're speaking about. So that is why, yeah, I hope my trying is effective. I hope it is effective. But Geb as a principle, this represents the stability of the earth, because now with the counterpart Nut, which is that sky goddess, that arc that you see from the sky goddess. So we know in the heavens, there's always consistent change. Things are always changing. Okay, the moon is never at the same phase. Ning is a full moon. So Geb provides the stability. And when you see the image of Geb, it is a man with a duck, usually a duck or a goose on top of his head. And in other depictions, when they're showing him Geb Linut together, Geb is the ground that we see, the land, right? So this is that man there on the floor, and then you'd see like a goddess or the counterpart of that, right? So this also represents the balance of life consistently, right? And so that is where Geb is. So you would see how we would describe the shape of the earth, right? Why I would always refer to, it's actually a dome shape. Or if you've watched Boma Simpsons, we know Boma Simpsons, they tapped into the 33 degrees, or they had access to tap into the 33 degrees, a group of they call them what? The illuminated ones, right? Yeah, but please go check out the Setswana episodes that we did, where she was speaking and touching on the other degrees that is only accessible by few. But because we were gods, or we recognize ourselves as gods, or we were able to tap into such a mysteries and the sacred science of it, we were able to tap into that knowledge. But unfortunately, the way life happened and everything that happened, we got so detached from who we are as a people. But we still have access. If we're the remnants of that, we still have access, right, to, and no wonder we're always saying we're rising our consciousness. So in the season that we come from, the season of Heru, we spoke about how Heru now, this is the principle of ascension and coming into your God self, Queen was referring to it as I am king, that phase of life, right? So now when we get to Geb, I want to touch on the children that Geb Linut also have birth from this. So Geb also bestows the birthright of his children. So whether it's guardianship or maintenance, and these principles get on at maintaining the royal house. So Geb Linut are the ones that are responsible for the creation of the royal house, right, the divine house. So Geb Linut also gave different gifts to all these children that they birthed. So we spoke, so we usually speak Asa, Osed, and then with Osed, I want to touch a little bit on Osed because this is the season that we're going to be transitioning to after the season in Ayarona. So Nut Kena, the custodian, yeah, magic, or Heka, as we call it, Gamedu nature. And Asa, new beginnings, new life, renewal. And then we have Set, the concept, yeah, chaos and destruction in order for us to build a new. Then we have Nepted, we spoke about Nepted in December, the nurture, the one that nurtures this young Heru so that Ibe Heru the elder. And then Heru, we spoke about a little Simba in the Lion King in the past season. So Geb is the one that gave them these gifts, that gave them these gifts. That's why we're saying that bestows the birthright. Right. So now how do we relate it to ourselves as well? So as we're transitioning from the house Ele, yeah, Heru, we spoke Horoke, Manje Tabata Ubukosi. Now you're settling in and now you are using these gifts, right? Which coincided now with this full moon that we just experienced. But we know that down here we are definitely in a alignment. Well, once you're away, you're in alignment because this was a moon in Virgo, in the house of Virgo. And I forgot to expand more on the last episode. So what I meant, the ruling planet of Virgo, right? Ruling planet of Virgo is Mercury, but to not be confused how it operates in the Tahuti season. So remember, Useka Tahuti or Tahuti, this is now communication with new signing deals, and we'd experience a lot of retrogrades now, usually period in Tahuti, right? So Mercury is a planet that is responsible for communication, so usually the kind of season, Tahuti, this would be like outward communication. But now when we get to the season Geb now, Now, remember, we spoke, okay, ascension to higher self and whatnot. And then now, because we're also approaching a period where we're going to go into hibernation. So Geb calls upon us, or the house of Mercury enables us now to say, one, are you serious with the things that you say matter to you, right? And then in that, this is the inward communication now that you'd have with yourself, the God in you. You having, so Mercury, Mercury and communication, this would be the input, the inward communication that you'd have with yourself. And this is where the processing happens. But okay, we're solidifying, because the things that you're deciding that, okay, I said these things are important. These are the things that are going to be carrying us throughout this hibernation period. But the things like the business deals that you had, the building plans that you had, and then I don't know if I spoke the last episode that we did or on the live episode that we did, where the artisans now also have this energy of Gabe to make sure bona the superstar in the season, and they're bound to win. So those who are creating, those who work with their hands, this is the energy Gabe is now allowing us now to tap into that. So let us speak about these 5 principles that Geb Linut have birthed, right? So Geb also, because we refer to Geb as the ancestral father, so this is the ancestor wa ancient Kemetic or Egyptian civilization. This is the grandfather of the ancient cultures, the traditions, also though operating with the assistance of Ma'at. So remember, Ma'at is the one that provides the law and order, the dimensions, how everything fits in together into the picture. But Gebki, the ancestral godfather, which we're going to get into, right? Where now it's referred to idlozi nakdala, idlozi elikhulu, right? And it's not to say, okay, hierarchy are the most important ones. And I could roll with that because that is my energy house. But we're not rolling with that. But just to denote, okay, Geb now, that first one at the top there, right? The first one at the top that were able to materialize everything that we see here. So Nut operates sort of in the cosmos, right? Because the sky, she contains the bellies in the stars, and then now Geb, now more the material world, more Lefatshe, Lefatshe, if you're into linguistics, Lefatshe, like down here, right? So Geb provides this ancestral knowledge, and remember, this is not outside of us as well, right? So if I'm going to refer to an initiate, this is a right? So not necessarily but the principles that sort of operate in that way, or sort of even if people are not aware of some sort of, or sorry, because if I'm stepping on your toes, but if there's that awareness, but basically this is the tracking of now the maturity of us, and if we liken ourselves as the descendants of the sun, this is in Twa, so that we're going through this enlightenment that we're going through. Sorry, I forgot to finish my point here, but 2000, the body of light, right? So this is basically this universal mind that we have, this one consciousness. And when you read books like Black Root Sciences, or where they explain, or if you're delving into questions of, okay, how was the world created and whatnot, so from the oneness, right? From the oneness, or if you're a numerologist, person who works with numbers, so you understand, okay, from that one, and then you split it into 2, and then so on and so on and so on and so on. So the body of light is basically this one consciousness that we have, and I said that Ugeb allows the body of light to take form. So we can take it as the sun itself, and remember, sun is another life giver, or the source, the one that emerged from the water and went through that process, and from that Geb materializes things. So let's get into the principle of Geb a little bit. So the principle of Geb is creation, right? So hence, on the last episode, I spoke intensively on the sacral chakra and how it's a point of creation, how besides a procreation, besides creating life, babies and whatnot, this is now where your ideas would come from. So that is why I always, and I'll probably mention it in every episode, what are the bottom 3 chakras. And I'm not saying the main 7. And remember, we mentioned 42 in totality when we marry it to these principles that we speak about. But the main 7. So from the root, the root, sacrale, the solar plexus. So solar plexus, we spoke extensively on it, the Heru season. So you need to stabilize those 3 ones in order for you to be able to work on the rest, right? But the heart chakra also is one of my projects that I've been on consistently, because also from that, you'll see it when we mirror it, but we touched a little bit on it, the Heru season, right? just a teensy wincy bit, because now on the calendar Heru or coincide lema at warona, right? So that is why we said we're in the Leo season and not the Aquarius, got the past season, right? But anyway, so principle is creation. So this is part of the fabricators of human form. So for okay, the humans are gonna look like this, these animals are gonna look like this. This is the principle of Geb being in effect, right? So everything that Ptah had conceptualized or thought out in their head, now Geb comes and then materializes that thing. So also a very interesting FYI, there's a conversation I was having with a friend of mine, Mr. Umhlaba. So he was asking me, okay, konje, le principle lena ga Heru, ithini ithini yabo ke no uHeru ascension umoya ukuthwasa komoya rising to your God self sisemoyeni manje. And then what's okay, so he's the one that was educating me, got the ages and stuff, right? And then he says, okay, because the age that we're from is the age of Pisces, right? And age of Pisces, now when we mirror it into our calendar here, we know, okay, right now the world says Roko Pisces, but Runako Southern Hemisphere, where actually life began. I know, so controversial, ain't it? So where life began from the south means origin. And I think somebody did ask about that, did they? Or commented on that, I don't know. But so we say that the age of Pisces, right? So age of Pisces, now we say, okay, season moyona, the principle of the earth. So that was where everything, you can easily bribe things. I'm not saying that it has, because we're freshly now in the Aquarius season, right? And the age of the age of Aquarius. So the age of Aquarius, we're speaking extensively now on social media about how the knowledge and the whatnots. But when you think about it now, Aquarius on the regular zodiac, that would be when Uheru season comes. And then now Heru, what does Heru come with? Where people answer, I don't have a price. I know you said every man's got a price, but I don't have a price. Everything that was operating in a material form, hence this higher consciousness everywhere. Everybody is waking up. Everybody is, you know what, we want to do things the spiritual. A lot of chakra hands are popping up, tarot card gangs, but oh my God, why but and we read books there. I think I'm gonna refer to this book so many times. Yeah, about black root signs, and then they mention how Koko Lefatshe Maki was mentioning the kids that are born from like 2012 upwards. This is like now the return of the ancestors, right? So hence we're getting questions. You know, I can't wait for this phase to end, but I think now it's time for this to be realigned emoyeni. And there's a nice quote that some queen wrote, I can't remember it, but along the lines of, we don't want leadership now that is led by material things, you know, like we're in this position right now because we are in a leadership England you're gonna do this is the mandate for the gods, you know. And it's so sad that everybody else is tapped in but us. Yeah, so yeah, if you want to hear something good from me today, just know that you're a god, right? Besides your ability to create and the rate we are creating it, but we know how important the black mind is. And if you are into conspiracy theories, yeah, maybe we should do those on Saturdays or something. If you're into conspiracy theories, you know almost how they say conspiracy theories, but there's always a tinge of truth in these things. They would say how like melanin, yeah, I did a short little episode on melanin. I think it's about time we expand on it. Melanin is a very, very important element, you know. There's a clip and where I don't know how legit it is, or if it is AI manipulated or anything like that, but they're speaking of how precious melanin is. And I know in the pharmaceutical industry as well, they are selling melanin pills, so people don't have to go to tanning salons anymore and whatnot. And it's so sad that more it's happening in reverse, right? So we're going to take out this melanin as people want to pump melanin in themselves, right? And when you see also the global war, I want to touch a little bit. I don't know if we should do this episode or just postpone this one. But yeah, anyway, so let us, it's okay. Like content. But let us go back to the principle of creation, right? So yeah, so just know, if you haven't heard anything good today, just know that you're a god. You is important, you know. Okay, I'm done. But anyway, so in the season, because this is the material world, if you are looking for healing, so this is a time where you can call upon the energy of Geb, which is what we're gonna do. How yeah, I know, sorry, I know I postponed it. I'm just not in my normal residence right now, or yeah, I'm not in my normal residence. But yeah, Giboni, actually, there's a lot of things that you need to consider whenever you're moving house, the Wi-Fi access, right? But yeah, I just wanted to shoot this today. I'll probably, yeah, upload, but we'll probably have 2 episodes. The coming, no, we'll see, but they're coming. Yeah, stay tuned, actually, so that you guys can come back, actually, so that you guys can come back. The next episode, yeah, we'll expand more on this one, right? And then, so you call upon this energy. Yeah, so I do promise after this one, yeah, Mipatlo, how to use the book that you guys are referring to, how do we use the yeah, because yeah, I think our world is so small, you know. We literally 6 degrees, or the 6 degrees is shifting smaller and smaller now, where we sort of existing in the same spaces, you know. We bumping into, oh my god, I saw you guy, oh my god, I saw you guy. We coming to that one consciousness anyway. So yeah, so I do know the book that you guys are referring to, and then I'm gonna help you, like, just give you some sort of light on, okay, how do we use that one? Yes, so next episode after this one. Anyway, so whatever physical ailments that you're suffering from, whatever ailments that you want to heal, if you are the administrator of the healing, so you can call upon the energy of Geb to assist you with the physical healing ail. You can to correct defects as well, so you can call upon that energy of Geb, right? And then also Geb now would also be mentioned as forming the patron of the judges and the mediators. So when we go back to the story Sena Sarona, we know Set went into battle le Heru, or Heru went into battle le Set, right? And numerous times, and then we spoke, so I think our final episode, yeah, Heru, we spoke about the eye of Heru. That was another intense one, right? Yeah, it was quite intense, especially the Pythagoras part. I know a lot of people asked for that, to explain to that, and yeah, I definitely will in person when you guys do get me in person. But I digressed, ne? I did digress. But anyway, so patron, oh yes, in battle with Heru in battle with Uset, and then for him now to rise up. And yeah, with some scholar would refer to, no, you use Oheru as istebisi sako into elevation, into the higher consciousness. So Ugeb was also there in that fight, was also the mediator of that fight. But all other texts also refer to Ugeb as the judge in the afterlife. So what do they mean about this one? So he's part of the team, the panel of team, right? That now when you've transitioned from the physical form now, or spirit form, you know that story we speak about weighing the heart against the feather. And remember all these things, guys, as much as metaphysics, ne? But we're using metaphors in order for us to understand. We're using mythology in order for us to understand. But those who are into metaphysical stuff, we know how, even if it's not physically tangible, but these things are tangible, these things are real, unless song yeah. But anyway, so he's the patron of judges, and in other texts they would call him the judges of the souls, the departed souls, right? Yes. So Geb forms part of those people, but Geb is a mediator. So in this season as well, you can call upon this energy of Geb if you've been struggling with maybe the family disputes, you've been struggling with conflict in the family, you've been struggling with conflict in relationships, whether like business relationships, work relationships. Call upon the energy of Geb. Stability. We spoke intensively when we were speaking about the things that align us with the season of Geb, right? And the theme, a lot of that is achieving balance, achieving stability, grounding, balancing your emotions. So this is what the principle of Geb is. And when you see Leona, right? Oh, interesting. Actually, let's touch on it when we're speaking about land next week. Yeah, I think maybe next week we'll do 2 episodes in one. I don't know. But the color enaya brown, stability, Umhlaba ujwang, yeah, so that is that energy of Geb, and in Geb mediating. So both sides are, you know, sometimes with family conflicts, but only one party is happy. Not with Geb. So Geb ensures that both parties, you know, whether business conflicts, family conflicts, relation conflicts, call upon that energy of Geb. And then I'm gonna show you guys how we got, not show you, I'm gonna speak how we recite or call upon the energy of Geb. And yeah, I hope lisatile up misamo ya lona, or le correctly misamo ya lona. in your body there, right? And then I said, oh yeah, so that is the principle Geb. And then we spoke about, oh, okay, now these are the things that you'll be carrying going forward, right? So solidify those things that even if maybe you didn't start the new year, but maybe Heru season, you said, oh my God, this is what I want to ascend to. So now you solidifying it. Remember, solid. And then there's another interesting thing. I think we'll touch on it. Yeah, ngiyavusela kuwe phambi kweshekasi lika Ben. So phambi kwe the stone of Ben. So stone of Ben is this like pyramid kind of stone, right? And that would denote how, yeah, so if you go like the museum, or if you look at the stone of Ben or the stone at Iunu, yes, you'd see like it's a pyramid form. It's called an I can't think of the word, but it starts with an O. It's a pyramid form of some sort, but this would be representing that mound. Yes, the mound that would come now after the third phase of creation, right? So anyway, so that is the principle Geb. Now also the time Geb before we get into the function. Okay, let's just touch on the function quickly. So function Geb is vegetation, right? So my favorite podcaster actually, he commented to say, okay, vegetation is wrong, because I shared the picture where Gabe is there at the bottom in the human form, and then nude there on top. All right, it's like vegetation is wrong. I'm like, maybe now what they mean about it, who knows? Maybe it's from here, because like I was saying, that we never name things for just in J, you know. We always have a reasoning behind certain things. But yeah, anyway, that's silly. But principle of creation. So this nature. This nature make sure that the harvest is available and the supply is sufficient and is able to be continuous, right? So this principle, okay, so on the live session that we did, they were asking what foods do we eat this season. So everything, so always go with everything that is seasonal, right? So I'm not in the farming industry. I didn't grow up in the villages as well, so I don't know exactly what the season except for oranges. Those are basic, right? Except for the oranges. But if you are into nutrition and are interested in that, always eat the stuff that are in season. But this energy of Geb, remember I said it's about continuous. It makes sure, even the winter when it happens, the vegetation that is produced then, the harvest that you can get from then, you can definitely get it because of this principle in Geb. Now also, and it's not just the physical ones, or the groente, the fruity, king the fruity caspitor, but the vegetation, you know, not just necessarily the edibles, but the trees themselves and whatnot. So make sure that there's a continuous supply. And then when we take it now into the extra physical, the material form, so also make sure like I'm saying, it's going to be a continuous work that we do, or things that are going to be carrying us throughout the year. So make sure the energy of Geb, make sure it vegetates, and make sure that there's continuous supply in the businesses that you do, in your home environment that you do. So please just call upon call upon the energy of Geb. And then there's Gogo Lerato who asked so can I call Geb Linut at the same time? So I personally know a goddess who's working on so she's doing newt rituals, right? So she started the Heru season, and it's been absolutely amazing. So I call upon, so she asked me also, it would be so nice to have like a group of women who are doing these things. But yeah, I must ask her if it can men pull through. But because it deals necessarily with the womb area, so if you also want the book, I can also share the book, because she did share the book with me, and maybe you wanna do the rituals on your own. But yeah, with the principle of Geb, you can, like I said, you can use whatever principle at whatever time, but we're speaking at that time to tell you what this is what's prevalent right now, right? And not that matla or ing. So the principles are always present, but they happen at different times according to what Jehud had said and what Ma'at is putting into place. So remember, Ma'at the one who makes sure the structure so no error needs to happen at this time. So yeah, we speak a lot also on timing versus time, right? Yeah. It's intricate in there. But yeah, anyway, so also the function we spoke, the artisans, right? The artisans, energy Geb allows them now to thrive. The superstar quite prolific, right? The fertility, yes, we also spoke about the fertility. And I know when we're thinking fertility, we're always thinking the woman body, right? Or the divine feminine. So it's also a virile principle, but it is mainly a masculine, the divine, from the divine masculine. So what do we mean? So it's not necessarily okay, so up everywhere, right? Like the lineage in Ayara. So not necessarily that, but for fertility in the terms of nature, right? In terms of your another vegetation that one guy on. So that is where fertility, the principle of fertility again would come in. Another queen I was speaking to on Instagram, she's like, yo, it was so hard to make that shift. Yeah, okay, grandfather gave Lefatshe, Mara, Mother Earth, right? So remember, these are just metaphors. And what do we get from our mothers? We get nourishment, we get nutrition, we get a supplication of everything. Oh, my flashlight is dying. Unless, yeah, no, it's dead. Yeah, we get provision of everything. So yeah, I know it is quite a mind F a lot. Or okay, why did it get again? We're saying he's the grandfather, but Mother Earth. So remember, that is also just a metaphorical speaking, right? But we when we're going intricately into our principles, we see every entity or every energy it deals with certain things at a certain time. And also we need to be cognizant of the androgynous referrals, androgynous representations of these deities or these energy houses, right? Because it's like that example, which I hope it will land eventually. Yeah, okay, a drop of water is still complete on itself. It's not it's a piece of water. So it's its own universe on its own, right? So these principles that are occurring in just one, like, you know how, okay, like in your body, as much as you are a Geb or a Nut or a Virgo or a Pisces or an Aquarius, whatever you are, but you embody because you are your own universe as well. I like Ligogo King Saint, actually. Yeah, I also can't wait to have her on. I asked for sessions with her as well. She's also got immense knowledge. So shout out King Saint of Patlantwana. Refers to people as my universe. Yeah, I thought it was my term only, but I'm a little jealous, but but yeah, so I get the concept. So you are your own universe as much as you are part of the universe, but your universe only complete only one, right? So also somebody asked, well, okay, can I expand more? Hagere Ugeb is chief of Abataga, right? So I know we're thinking of witchcraft in a negative sense, but we need to consider the colonial effect of our words as well, witch doctor, the witchcraft, so can we respect the craft, can we respect the heka behind it, can we respect the god behind it, right? And then maybe just discard the witch part of it. I saw this on a clip, this grandfather explaining, okay, this is what colonization did to us. So I'm like, I'm gonna use this analogy going forward, and I really like it. So I hope that is sufficient for now. I hope it is sufficient, and we will continue now. We'll get into the rituals. I know people don't like the word rituals. We'll get into the practice, or for you to get some sort of system that you work with, some sort of order that you work with, because also remember how Virgo. Let's go to the Virgos. We know them, right? They're very organized, barata structure, perfectionist, this and that, right? So get newt people. So look at the Pisces effects, look at the Virgo effect. But the season is also calling upon us, everybody, the energy that is prevalent right now, to be more well organized, to be more structured, more okay, we're going into this. So also, when you're doing ancestral work or when you're doing higher vibration things, right? So a repetition is quite important. That is what they use in media. That is what they use in advertising. Repeat. So hence, lehareta the affirmation. And I know other school of thought say, you've already asked for it, so don't repeat it. But me, I repeat it to increase that vibration in a thing, right? And then, yes, so we'll get into that. So you can get some sort of routine. And I think a lot of people work better at routine than like hardly random, right? But I'm not saying everything of yours needs to be like robot, Some things, flow. Like we want free flow. We want the flow of life. There's nothing else besides flow. But for certain things, if you're working with a deity, also repetition, and also at times, I respond to the patterns. What about, okay, oh, or like they take so okay, ke o'clock until 18, right? So Uncle Ma'at, happy today. I hope that was sufficient enough for you. Yeah, there's one point that I missed, but yeah, I think we got it, the divine house and how because instills this ancestral memory that we have. So also, if you want to do shamanic soul retrieval, yeah, I should make a separate episode. Maybe I'll make this episode, yeah, Sacred Connections, where I'm just going to speak about a conversation my friend and I had. Yeah, I know we've attached sometime, God, the shamanic soul retrieval, but we're basically speaking about the dark night, the dark night of the soul, dark night of the soul, something like that. Yeah, so we'll speak on that, and then I can expand a little bit more and how we're going to use Gabe, who provides now this ancestral memory for the initiates. Yeah, so yeah, what's my gig? 1,000 thoughts at the same time, but I hope everything translates and you manage to grasp whatever it is that you needed. But Gabe implants the ancestral memory of divine descent into the initiate, us that are rising to our higher selves, not necessarily by but so that it can grow into a reservoir of wisdom. And this is also used through these children that they birth, the ones that are responsible for the royal house, or the custodians or the guardians of the royal house. So I'm gonna add happy today. I hope that was sufficient for you. I'm sorry for confusion caused here and there, but yeah, I hope this was sufficient and was simple enough for us to understand. But I'm calling again, if you need a natal chart, if you need a numerologist, if you because I really have not operated, but have been boxed into so much darkness. That is why I want to operate into, that is why I operate into the light, right? So unconsciously, yeah, but we're gonna get into this one when we go into the Osset season. But I touched a little bit on it the last episode, yeah, Heru, about that sacred name that you have. So yeah, so a lot of us, we've been victims of so much darkness. So that is why, yeah, get it, like, yeah, so please, my hand up, you can trust me. So if ubata toza goko, ubata a media, ubata a what, I can always refer you. But also super exciting, maybe I'll do this on my announcement, super exciting. Yeah, actually, let me do this on the other announcements. Happy today, Ankan Ma'at. Please do like, please do subscribe, please do comment. Please, yeah, engage with us in the comment section. Please, if you have questions that are still unanswered, please just drop them here so that in the next episode I can answer them as well. All right, Ankan Ma'at, thank you so much for that.